Director, I mentioned the proposed rule to overhaul grant making in my opening, which seeks to subject virtually all federal funding to the whims of the president's policy priorities. It substitutes the current standard of evidence in science in favor of political tests based on ideology. I've talked to a number of groups, and many of the groups have asked for, and I think they may have requested more time to be able to read. It's a 412-page document, and so that they can participate in the public comment period. Can you commit to granting a 45-day extension of the comment period?
No, but I will say this, the number of comments that are coming in that we have to respond to is going to take us some time.
The answer is no. I think one of the striking aspects of the proposal is attempts to put the OMB director at the center of all decision-making here.
Not true.
And why are you a better judge of an NIH clinical trial than a panel of medical doctors and researchers? How will you ensure the grants will be based on merit and individuals and communities served by the federal grants will receive the highest level of service possible? Is there a listing, if you could get to us, the agency's priorities, the president's priorities? What is the set of criteria you are using to judge these grants? What precludes you from changing the criteria in the middle of a grant period? Because as I understand it, you can, not only can political appointees take control of grant awards, active grants can be terminated at any time for any reason. And I went through some of them, these efforts, but you can cancel it at any moment. Is there a set of criteria that we could have that demonstrates to us why these grants are being canceled?
Congress, you're misconstruing the proposal to make it seem as if it is OMB-centric. OMB will not be making these determinations. We don't have a formal review in reviewing every NOFO. That is not something that we intend to take on. These are the policy officials at the agency of which the president has put these cabinet secretaries
let me just reclaim my time. But the fact of the matter is we understand it, and this is probably the most consequential change in the rule. Senior political appointees, rather than career scientists and program officers, would now be required to conduct a, quote, pre-issuance review of every discretionary grant before it is awarded. These appointees are explicitly forbidden from deferring to peer reviewers or routinely ratifying their recommendations. This is in the 412-page document, and maybe you think that people weren't going to read it. And then there is no longer peer review. Peer review is no longer binding. A political appointee can simply override the scientific community's judgment with no finding of cause. That is what is a part of this rule, which is it dismantles what we established after World War II for the National Institutes of Health, for the for the National Science Foundation, for Department of Energy, for NASA. It really reverses how we have awarded grants in the future. You're shaking your head no, but that in fact, which is what the fact of what you are trying to do with a political lens and someone's political ideology. I have one more question for you. Have you released all appropriated funding to each intended agency through the apportionment process?
We were working through the apportionment process expeditiously. I can't say we've done every single one of them, but if you have one that you're particularly interested in.
No, but I'm just saying it is your responsibility to get the money out of the door in a timely fashion. And if you can't do this, we need to take a look, because again, Congress provides the authority for this.
Full year apportionment.
How much funding has been available?
They need right.
How much funding has been made available? How much funding have you made unavailable to agencies as of today? If you can't answer that, now I would like an answer to that.
Happy to, but again, there's no concerted effort not to apportion funding for the agency.
It's not going out in a timely way. I can just go through.
Because we're trying to assess what it's being spent on.
Right, no, I get it. Will you commit to us here today that you will carry out our spending laws as Congress intended through appropriations and reconciliations as they were enacted or not?
Obviously, we will take and make sure that we're spending money where you intend us to spend money. At the same time, I'm not going
No,
to take any
that is
tool-
where, no, the
I'm
answer
not
to
gonna
that
take
then
any-
is no.
I'm not
You
going
are
to take a
not
tool
gonna
off the
sp-
table.
You are not going to spend the money that Congress in a bipartisan way
say that.
enacts. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
yield my time back.